He was not the fastest. He wasn't the tallest, but somehow, no one could stop him. Game after game, he made defenders look like statues and goalkeepers look helpless. Records shattered, legends humbled, fans left speechless. What he did on the pitch didn't just change football, it broke it. Analysts ran out of words, opponents ran out of answers. Who is this player that turned the sport into an art form? You're about to witness how one man rewrote football forever. In 2012, Lionel Messi didn't just have a great year. He did something that football fans around the world still struggle to understand. He scored 91 goals in one calendar year. That's not just impressive, it's almost unreal. Let's rewind for a moment. By the start of 2012, Messi was already considered one of the best. He had won Ballon d'Or titles, led Barcelona to Champions League glory, and was breaking records left and right. But even with all of that success, nobody expected what he was about to do next. See, Barcelona was still one of the top teams under Pep Guardiola. They played beautiful, fast-passing football, and Messi was at the center of everything, not as a regular striker, but as a false nine. He'd drop deep, drag defenders out of position, link up with Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets, and then somehow end up finishing the move himself. But things weren't perfect. Barcelona had strong competition from Real Madrid, coached by Jose Mourinho. That season, Madrid was hungry. They were scoring goals like crazy and pushing hard to win the league. But while Madrid had depth and firepower, Barcelona had Messi, and Messi had a point to prove. The fireworks started early. Just a few days into January, Messi scored twice against Osasuna. That game set the tone. He was just warming up. Within days, he picked up another Ballon d'Or, his third in a row. But instead of relaxing, he got even more motivated. He followed it with more goals, more assists, and his first hat trick of the year came before the end of January. By February, he was flying. Even in the rare games where he scored just once, like against Real Sociedad or Bayer Leverkusen, it didn't take long before he exploded again. In a match against Valencia, he dropped 4 goals like it was nothing. Then he went away with Argentina and scored a hat trick against Switzerland. It didn't matter the competition, club or country, league or Champions League. Messi was scoring everywhere. March came, and if you thought he'd slow down, think again. In the Champions League, he scored 5 goals in one match against Bayer Leverkusen. 5. In one of Europe's biggest tournaments. No one had done that before. Then he scored a brace here, a hat trick there. He became Barcelona's all-time top scorer, and he was only 24 years old. By the end of March, Messi had 54 goals in just 45 games for the season. That was already more than some strikers manage in their entire careers, and he still had 9 months left. And that brings us to April, a month where Messi didn't just chase history, he started breaking it. April arrived, and Messi was still in beast mode. Barcelona faced AC Milan in the Champions League quarterfinals. It was a big match, but Messi didn't feel the pressure. He scored 2 goals to push Barca through. Just days later, in La Liga, he added more goals against Zaragoza. But the wild thing? In that match, his most talked-about moment wasn't even a goal. It was a pass. A pass that cut through 5 defenders. It looked like something out of a video game. Then came Getafe, then Levante, then Rayo Vallecano, more goals. Another hat trick. April ended the same way it started, with Messi scoring for fun. And then came May. This is when things got serious. See, there was this old record by German striker Gerd Müller. He had scored 67 goals in one European season. That record had stood for 40 years. People thought it would never be broken. But Messi? He passed it like it was nothing. On May 2nd, he scored a hat trick against Malaga, taking his total to 68. Müller himself congratulated him, but Messi wasn't done. 4 more goals against Espanyol, another in the Copa del Rey final against Athletic Bilbao. By the time the season ended, he had 73 goals for Barcelona in all competitions, 50 of them in the league alone. That was a league record too. And yet, here's the crazy part. Despite all those goals, Barcelona didn't win the league. Real Madrid finished on top, and in the Champions League, Chelsea knocked Barcelona out in the semi-finals. That's right, Messi scored all those goals, but the team still fell short. Most players would feel frustrated after that, but Messi kept going. In June, he played for Argentina. He scored again, once against Ecuador, then a hat trick against Brazil, and one more against Germany. By now, he had 81 goals for the year, and the season wasn't even halfway done. When the new season kicked off in August, Messi didn't slow down. 2 goals against Real Sociedad in the opening league match. Then a goal in the Spanish Super Cup against Real Madrid. He was everywhere. Every game, scoring, assisting, creating. Even when Barcelona didn't win, Messi showed up. And September? Same story. Goals against Getafe, goals in the Champions League, goals for Argentina. October? You guessed it. More goals. He was chasing another of Gerd Müller's records now. 85 goals in a calendar year. And by October, he was already close. Then came November. People thought maybe he'd slow down. Nope. He scored in almost every game that month. In La Liga, in Europe, for Argentina. One match after another. He just kept adding to his total. Heading into December, Messi needed just a few more goals to break the calendar year record. And he did it. 2 goals against Real Betis took him to 86, breaking Müller's record of 85 goals in a calendar year. But he wasn't finished yet. With the record now broken, Messi had already made history. But in true Messi fashion, he didn't stop just because he'd hit a milestone. He still had matches to play and more goals to score. First, there was a Copa del Rey game against Cordoba. Messi scored twice. Then, against Atletico Madrid, he added 2 more. Finally, to close out the year, he played against Real Valladolid and, of course, scored again. That brought his total to 91 goals in a single calendar year. That number alone sounds fake, but it's real. He actually did it. To understand how crazy that is, let's compare. The entire Racing Santander team that year in La Liga scored just 28 goals in the whole season. Messi had more than triple that by himself. In fact, he scored more goals than 13 other La Liga teams that year. That's not just domination. That's something we've never seen before, and probably never will again. And it wasn't just about the number of goals. It was the way he scored them. Left foot, right foot, headers, chips, long-range shots, dribbles through entire defenses. You name it, he did it. And it wasn't like he was stat padding in easy games. He scored in the Champions League, in El Clásicos, in international matches, and in league games under pressure. Big moments, big goals. Now here's why this record is so hard to beat. First, the modern game is different. Defenses are more organized. Players get studied constantly, with data, video analysis, and new tactics. Teams now focus more on stopping individual stars, so it's harder for one player to keep scoring every single week. Second, players don't play as much. Messi played 69 games in 2012. That gave him more chances to score. But today, even top players often get rested. Clubs want to protect their stars for finals and big matches, so they get rotated. Even someone like Erling Haaland, who scores a ton, gets benched when the league title is secured or when the schedule gets tight. Also, football has changed in how teams play. It's less about one player scoring all the goals. Now, the goal-scoring burden is shared. Even the best forwards today, like Mbappe or Vini Jr., don't play in systems built entirely around them like Messi did at Barca. In short, 2012 wasn't just Messi's best year. It might be the best year any footballer has ever had. A year where he scored 91 goals, made over 100 goal contributions, broke ancient records, and showed the world what football greatness really looks like. And while we might see amazing players in the future, it's hard to imagine anyone doing what Messi did. Because it wasn't just about scoring. It was about doing the impossible, week after week, for an entire year, and making it look normal. That's how Messi broke football.